Hello. Hi. How's my sound? And my lighting? And everything else? Oh, there we go. And then let me see this chat window. Oh my goodness, it's showing me an ad on my own content. I guess I'm getting paid for this ad, so that's cool. All right, that's dumb. I won't make you guys watch. That's annoying. Okay, all right, I can skip now. So, I kind of realized belatedly that it's Friday. Yeah, I've been a little bit out of it lately. So, ooh, Lululemon. Yeah. I think I bought one pair of Lululemon leggings like many, many years ago. Not really a brand that I use very much, shall we say. Anyway, yeah, so they are a lousy company. Are they? I recently bought, okay, maybe I'll lead in with this. I've been doing two counterproductive things, like they're at odds with each other. So, I have been trying to declutter my house, and I've been doing a decluttering challenge where, so on day one, I get rid of one thing, and day two, I get rid of two things, and so on and so forth through an entire month. Hi, Lori, how are you? And trying to get my life in order. And simultaneously, I've kind of fallen down an internet shopping rabbit hole. Generally not a huge internet shopper or shopper in general. Like, I don't buy things a huge amount. I tend to be pretty minimal. But things start to collect in my house. And so I've been decluttering, but at the same time, for probably like one of the first times ever, I'm actually finding myself buying a whole bunch of stuff, like art stuff and clothing and all sorts of nonsense all the time. So yeah, I figured I might show some of the things that have come into my life recently. Also, I decided that the way I'm going to deal with this is I'm just going to sort of embrace it. And I think that I'm just not going to buy anything next year. So I'm just allowing myself to sort of explore the world of internet thrift shopping and buying art supplies that I don't really need and decluttering at the same time. And so for everything that I bring in, I get rid of two more. And then next year, I'm just not going to buy anything. So I'm going to share some of the stuff that has come into my life recently. I might do some painting. And yeah, and then if there's something that you want to see on this channel that involves a new product, now's the time to tell me so that I can get it, because I'm not going to buy anything new in 2021. Be right back, grabbing mug, wait for me. Well, we just bought a house full of IKEA to organize the house. Charles, when you said that, I thought you said we just, like, I read that sentence wrong, and I read we just bought a house full of IKEA stuff. And I was like, wait, you bought a house? How did I miss this? But, yeah. Okay, so you just bought a bunch of IKEA stuff to organize the house. You know, I did too. Not a house full, but I did get one of the IKEA Alex drawer sets for my home studio, and a new desk for the home studio and stuff. Cart. Yeah, so I'm like, I've done a little bit of organizing, but I'm also just getting rid of stuff. Like, I'm not great at organizing. Ev asked, do you think it's an effect of the mental state without pain? Like more free? So my mental state is interesting. I need to talk to my psychiatrist. Because I'm definitely not in pain, but I'm still a little bit foggy. And so it's definitely an effect of like not being able to focus on, for example, I have a whole bunch of videos to edit and I just can't get through them terribly well. So I haven't been very, very effective at doing things. And so when I'm sitting in front of my computer and I should be editing video, but I'm like just not capable mentally, I end up wasting time scrolling through things and end up buying stuff, I guess. IKEA, yeah. Who doesn't love IKEA? Hi, Alex. Okay, so, ooh, Cyan. Rare occasion to catch stream. Need to take Ruka outside, but we'll come after it. Okay, I'll ask you later. Yeah, so a few things that I have bought recently. First of all, there's this sweater that, well, shirt that I'm wearing. It's men's tall, so the sleeves are too long. But otherwise it fits great because I'm apparently a men's large. Maybe I'll just get, one of my friends does mending and alterations for clothing. And maybe I'll just get Alicia to fix it. Hi Lindsay, how are you? Alex says, I'm trying to get the dumb kitties to play, and Dexter is being all, meh, I don't want to. I don't want your silly mice. Fetch me my wigglies. Anyway, yeah, so I got this nice flannel shirt. It's wool flannel, so it's nice and warm. And this was thrifted from Poshmark. Yeah, it's so soft. I really like the colors. Yeah. Ooh, wool flannel. Yeah. The shirt wool. Yeah, the shirt is wool. Everything I wear is wool. Okay, except for, let's do this. I also got myself, okay, actually, I'm going to do this as story time. So the big quest of my adult life has been for my Holy Grail sandals. So this story starts in like the year 2000 or something. My mom got 2 pairs of sandals for herself and my older sister, and God knows why. My mom's a hoarder. So she gets 2 pairs of sandals, identical, these like big brown clunky sandals. And so she got 2 pairs, one for herself, one for my sister. And then my sister wouldn't go near them with a 10-foot pole. She was like, these are the ugliest sandals I've ever seen. I'm not going to wear these. They're hideous. And my mom had also bought herself these sandals, tried them on, maybe wore them like once or twice, didn't find them terribly comfortable, and so she had these 2 pairs of sandals that she just kept for several years, until maybe it was even before the year 2000. So anyway, so early 2000s, I was in my teens, like 2002 or 2003 or something. And I needed new sandals, and at this point I was wearing the same size shoes as them. So my mom said, okay, try these, and she gave me the ones that she'd bought for my sister. And I wore those sandals every day from like March to November. As long as there wasn't snow on the ground, I was wearing those sandals. They were like these big, chunky fisherman sandals, big, chunky straps, leather. Those things fused to my feet. They were so comfortable. Kind of ugly, but I also just got compliments on them all the time because they fit me so well, and they actually went with all of my clothing, and I really, really loved them. I wore my sister's pair of Echo fisherman sandals for 3 years, every day, and ran them into the ground. And I thought I had a second pair because my mom had bought 2 pairs. In fact, I was so sure of this that the day I swapped was the day I was traveling across the country on a train ride across the country, and I put on my mom's sandals because I'd worn the other ones into the ground, and got on a train, and they felt kind of weird, and I realized after wearing them for about 2 days they were a half size smaller and really actually quite uncomfortable. So yeah, that's the saga of my sandals. That was when I was 17, and I have been searching for my entire life for replacement sandals, and I found many pale comparisons that aren't quite the same. And finally, a few days ago, I saw the Doc Martens make sandals, and they are pretty similar. So I invested a whole bunch of money, and this is where I do something really weird and put my feet up on my desk. And so I got myself replacement, expensive, gigantic, ugly sandals. And I'm really hopeful about these. Are they as comfy as the old ones? I'm not sure yet. I've only just worn them inside, and they are leather, so they do take a little while to fully break in, but I'm really hopeful that these will be the new thing. Those look ungodly comfortable. Yeah, so that's, I'm that's one goofy purchase. Another one is because I'm on these meds that make me thirsty all the time, I've been drinking water constantly. And in fact, one moment. I was drinking so much water and getting so tired of refilling glasses that I started using an empty juice bottle and was just drinking out of an empty juice bottle, and I'll drain this a couple times a day. So I decided to get myself a little bit. Charles says those are so you. Aren't they? Oh my goodness. Yes. So me. Also so me. So then I got myself a water bottle, and I got myself a 2-liter water bottle, and this arrived yesterday, and I couldn't stop laughing because I don't know what I was expecting when I ordered a 2-liter water bottle. But this is ridiculous. So there's a 2-liter water bottle. Yeah, it's like, it's hard to wrap. It's not really like comfortable to hold around. I don't know, I might get used to it, or I might just and like carry it around and use it to refill a glass. Hooray for hydration. Yes, I mean, I'm like, drinking water all the time is definitely good for me. You could fit a head in that. Oh, yeah, in cat news, Neuron learned a new trick. Ev, you're gonna be so proud. So Neuron likes drinking out of my paint water jar, which is annoying. And so I have to keep replacing the water because otherwise he'll drink paint water. And sometimes the water will get too empty for him. And he'll sit on my desk and howl at me. But now he's discovered a new trick, which is he can ring the glass. Like, he'll just run his little hand over here, and when he does this, it makes the glass ring, so he can ring the glass from across the room like, servant, my cup runneth empty. H2O real meditation. So yeah, that's my cat. This is also why I need a bottle rather than just a cup, or like a, I don't feel like sharing my water with a cat. Then, that boy is way too clever. Yeah, he is. It's a problem. Then I was on Poshmark buying stupid things. So I bought myself ridiculous gloves to go with my ridiculous sandals, I guess. But check these out. Look at all these colors. They're a little finicky to get on, but once they're on, they fit really well. But there's so many cool colors here. Real leather? Yes, absolutely real leather. So yeah, this is real good. And then a bunch of more things, but I think that's quite enough showing of my clothing on an art channel for now. I love the colors too. Yeah, that's like, my wardrobe is really, really all these colors. So it's neat when I can find more things. Anyway, so I'm not going to be buying anything in 2021. I'm not going to be buying clothing. I'm not going to be buying water bottles. I'm not going to be buying new sandals. I'm not going to be buying any stuff. And I'm also not going to be buying art books. So then the other thing that I've got is, here are some art books that I haven't shared on this channel. Some of these 2 top ones are like brand new. The other 2 I've had a little bit longer. But I kind of wanted to Charles says, lol, it's true. It's true that that's my whole wardrobe, right? And it's vintage, so it's a valuable find for many reasons, right? I'm still debating of that shirt. Well, there's shirt and skirt, but if anything, I would get the shirt. There's also on Poshmark, there's a really gorgeous set of, it's a wool shirt and skirt set. Do you wear skirts? I do, and I even wear like long maxi skirts, mostly in the summer. It's a little bit troublesome because I'm a cyclist, so I can't wear only skirts. I kind of have enough. I absolutely blame Lee for my recent addiction to Poshmark. I'm sorry, Ev! But on the other hand, if anyone else wants to join me on Poshmark, well, if you'd wear it, I'd get it. I'm not sure about the skirt. Like, first of all, it's pleated. Ev, you're a mod here. You can throw up that link if you want, so that people know what I'm talking about. And then Charles can agree that it just looks like my wardrobe again. Okay, cool. Anyway, it's just like, it's a little much even for me. So, I don't know. I probably would wear it, but how much? Right, so then I can start posting stuff there, I guess, if I share things. Anyway, and then let's look at some art books. Let's get back to the topic of this channel. Ooh, Cyan. Okay, so I was going to mention, Cyan, did the palette I sent you, the stuff I sent you finally arrive, or still no? Not arrived yet. Okay, so I've got this pen that's inked up with platinum carbon sepia, or platinum sepia ink. Oh, and it appears to have leaked a tiny bit. That's interesting. Kind of alarming. Okay, well, I was going to, it's not arrived yet. Oh. So I sent that like weeks ago, but on the other hand, things have like taken a long time to get into Canada as well, so I'm not hugely surprised. Like, things within Canada seem to be moving pretty quickly, but things from outside just take forever. So I imagine it's probably the same in reverse too. Anyway, I had inked this with platinum sepia before sending it to you several weeks ago, and haven't really, for this thing, this painting that I had started and hadn't finished, I wanted to send it off already. But it seems to still be running several weeks later, so that's like pretty impressive from the TWSBI Eco that I can leave it inked and sealed for like 3 weeks and it hasn't dried up at all, so that's cool. Yeah, and finished post is horribly jammed too. Okay. All right. So then I'm gonna take a look through some recent art books that I bought, because again, I've been doing way too much internet shopping recently. So this one, The Addictive Sketcher by Adebanji Alade. I thought this was more of a like art of book, but it's actually got a fair bit of instructional material. So this artist just sketches people all the time. Like, he goes out and he'll sketch people on the subway or around town. And so he's done a few videos, which are really neat. And so he talks about like building a sketching habit and sketching all the time, and like how this really improves your art by just like making it habit. I kind of expected this to be more instructional, but it is very much, you know, he talks about his materials here. He's got talking about angles and proportions of the face. So if you're into like portrait and I guess urban sketching type stuff, because he does also do some scenery. I didn't realize, like, most of what I'd seen was just the faces. Different kinds of sketching. Talking about composition, perspective, value and color. Need to add that book to my wish list. I'm really into sketching. Yeah, so again, there's, you know, a little bit more, it's structured a little bit more like an instructional book, where he's talking about like how to build a specific type of sketch, sketching people outdoors, homeless people, parks and public spaces, crowds, buskers. He's also got stuff about, you know, trees. Looks like it has really informative elements, like a matching technique to subject thing. Yeah, this book isn't what I was expecting when I ordered it, but it does look really cool. I haven't had a chance to really look super closely at it. Indoor spaces. Offices and workshops. I'm talking about times of day, etc. And then the other book that I got at the same time is How to Make a Watercolor Paint Itself. And this one I expected to, it's almost the opposite, where I expected this one to be more of a like art of artist book, where it's just a lot of examples of his sketches. I expected this one to be more project based. And this one isn't super project based, it's just like a list of different techniques with some examples of work that comes out of them. So I tend to paint very detailed, like quite stiff, I guess, especially in later layers. And I'm always fascinated by people who paint things that are very lifelike, but in, you know, with an economy of strokes, I guess. So I thought this would be pretty interesting. And again, I'm not totally sure. I feel like maybe I might need a little bit more hand holding than this. So if somebody has a suggestion for like a course, maybe, that focuses on this sort of stuff. But so I mean, she talks about watercolor paint selection. I have opinions about some of these color choices. And different materials and stuff. But yeah. So she's using things like bottles to spray wave patterns and then sprays water onto them. Oh my god, she's the lady that tapes, glues, and staples her paper to keep it stretched. Oh goodness. Like because she uses so much water? Hey everybody. Meet Lauren. Lauren's my little brother. Okay, that makes me uncomfortable. The, like, using your paper so wet thing. You blew my cover. Oh, sorry, you were undercover. Okay, I'm sorry. So, paint rocks conventionally in the foreground in dark colors. Okay, so then she's like dry brushing here, but I thought the whole paper was damp. I'm confused. Found that the lady's technique is too personable. Yeah. What are the titles of the books? Oh, okay, cool. We're having a little family reunion. I think we can tell that you're related to me, Charlie. Are you too undercover for me to specify what your relationship is to me? Well, Lauren, now you blew Dad's cover. Dog is focused on the sound of the phone. Okay, we really are having a family reunion over here. Sorry, Ev, you were saying you found the lady's technique is too personal to be of any help, really. Yeah, I think that might be it. Where I was kind of looking for maybe a little bit of instruction on how to like bring in a little bit of this technique, but it really was just, well, you just splash some paint around and then it looks like this. Like, okay, I splash paint around and it doesn't look like that. And nor do I really want it to look like that. I just want to learn some of the techniques, but it's so I'm struggling with this one a little. But it is interesting to look at. Starting to work with the reference material. So here she's talking about tilting her board to get like naturally form the flow of the water. So that's kind of neat, like where the tilt of the board is tilted the same way as you want the current of the water. Remember that one YouTuber that had really loose yet detailed paintings? I just can't get the name to my mind. Yes. It's a bit like the how-to draw guides. Draw a circle, draw midlines in your circle, finish drawing. Draw the rest of the owl. Preserving intricate details with mask. Right, where like, and there's this, where she's got some kind of drawing, and then she's just using a big brush and sort of mashing it around. And I'm somewhat lost as to what all is happening here. Like, don't get me wrong, the paintings are impressive. I don't feel like I'm necessarily learning by reading this. I feel, maybe incorrectly, that the paint selections in books is very different from advice you might get through YouTube. I think books frequently tend to, I mean, because they stay in print for much longer, and it tends to be much more established artists who have been using the same paints for a long time before they even get to writing a book. It is often, although not always the case, that artists are using like older, more traditional pigments in books. What annoys me about this book and so many others is she mentions names of paints. Now she's using Winsor Newton paints. But she's just got the names of paints like brown matter alizarin. Well, that corresponds to a pigment in Winsor Newton. It corresponds to something else entirely in every other brand. Fundamentally, if you're choosing colors like this, it doesn't matter super hard. But is alizarin crimson there? No. So she has brown matter alizarin, but that's a PR206. It's the same as their permanent alizarin crimson. It's browner. Alizarin crimson and cad yellows is the telltale signs of an old painter. She has aureolin though, which in Winsor Newton is a PY40. So this is super fugitive and going to fade. So that's upsetting. Yeah. The cad yellow, yeah, I don't think there's cadmium scarlet though. And then she does have cobalt blue, like cadmium scarlet and cobalt blue are sort of like that, where it's like, okay, well, you've got, yeah. When was this written? Anyway, so I think on YouTube you get a bigger range of artists. There's a lot more focus on trying new materials. I mean, Ev, you can probably relate to this, but I find editing videos for, like, here's some new paints I'm checking out. I find those videos much easier to edit than like a really complex instructional thing or tutorial or whatever. In Finnish art books, there's often carmine and cinnabar red. Like real cinnabar, or is that just the name that's used for? Yeah, so in terms of like developing content for a YouTube channel, it's very, very tempting to lean on, I'm going to try some new things, which means then that you have a community of people who are trying a lot of new things. And so I think the preferences on YouTube for different paints will tend to reflect that a little bit more, where a new pigment comes out and everyone on YouTube wants to try it out immediately and make a video about it because that's how you make content. So it's a different sort of experience. Like the thing is, you can paint with anything. And I'm not arguing with her results. Although using fugitive paints or using pigments that might be fugitive paints in other brands, like using names like brown matter alizarin. Yeah, they are all hues, often from Finnish watercolor maker Wennerström. Huh. And that Wennerström is not a Finnish name, it is Swedish. Cool. Cyan, is that are those good quality paints? I have never heard of them. Horrible. Okay. Curiosity relieved. I feel like books are really specific about colors, often include opaque colors. YouTube is definitely new, but also often ask how transparent or light fast paints are. Yeah. I mean, so part of it is, I definitely find a difference in terms of what I do on YouTube versus if I'm teaching in person. Now, part of that may just be because I don't have my students right in front of me when I'm on YouTube or teaching virtually in any case. But so I prefer to just sort of leave it open and talk about, you know, you want a transparent magenta. Now, whether you're going to use PV19 or PR122 or PR202 or whatever, and what brand, you know, all of these will give you similar results. But you probably want something that's magenta and not like a fire engine red if you want to mix purples. Absolutely horrible kid stuff comes glued in cardboard and often has only 6 color split primary. Finnish schools use those, and Finnish art books think them as good quality. I saw that the most expensive paints are expensive because they last longer, usually because they are made with natural stuff. Is that the main factor? That's an interesting question, and that is, there's some truth to that if you're talking about the difference between like kids paints and professional paints, for example. So if you like kids paints are made, they'll use really, really cheap materials and dyes that fade instead of using real pigments. So pigments are just colorful substances, chemical substances. They can be like a natural rock, or they can be something that's created in a lab, but they are a colorful substance that stays that color, versus dyes are much smaller particles. They tend to be not very stable, not very light fast, and so they'll fade over time. Now, there are pigments that fade too. Also, in kids' paints, they'll often also put other stuff like chalk, so that when you look at it in the pan, it looks nice and bright, but when you paint it out, you're not going to get the same brightness. It's going to look pretty chalky. But within professional paints, you will also have some paints that are more expensive than others, and that's not because they're different quality. It's just because some pigments are more expensive than others. So for example, here, let me get out a binder, or no, I'll just get out this sheet. If you have different paints, like all of these are professional grade paints that I've sampled here. But some of them are much more expensive than others. So like transparent brown oxide, raw sienna are very, very cheap because they are just made from ground up dirt. They are natural earth pigments. They're not bad quality, they're just cheap. They last forever, they paint very nicely, they're just cheap. On the other hand, something like what's the most expensive thing I have in here? Something like a cobalt turquoise here is going to be very expensive because producing cobalt turquoise is a chemical process that involves some rare materials that need to be mined, and that costs a lot of money. So it's not that it's better paint, it's just it costs more money. Authentic indigo. Authentic indigo is beautiful and fades. Anyway, yeah, like, so here's a demonstration where she's just like spraying it all over. I don't know, maybe this would work better like in a workshop setting. I feel like I could maybe enjoy this in a workshop setting. But I find this book rather overwhelming. It's a deep end of loosening up, like, wow. So she stamps textures too, where she uses bits of illustration board. And cuts them out to stamp out areas of trees, stamping grass. Very, like, that's sort of interesting. Warren, pupper looks super cute. The pupper does look super cute. I can share some pictures of that pupper later in Discord. What are you apologizing for? Love to have you around. Other printing tools. Ruining my life? Isn't that your job? Okay. Preserving impact with design. I don't know. Yeah. Cool book, but I'm It makes you appreciate Jane Blundell interviews when she cites what colors are in her mixing palette. If the artist says, "Oh, I just use Winsor Newton," Jane can cite exactly which Winsor Newton color is equivalent. Yeah, I love Jane Blundell. And I really like her approach in terms of she does have a very clear palette that she uses, but she also, you know, she explains why she chose those colors, why they work for her. Has her entire blog full of comparisons to other colors, other brands, other I understand that like the beginner watercolorists want a starter set. In fact, that is the video that I am currently struggling to edit, is looking at some beginner watercolor sets. But yeah. Hi Paolo, how are you? I'm looking at art books. I just flipped through Nita Engel's How to Make a Watercolor Paint Itself, Experimental Techniques for Achieving Realistic Effects, which is overwhelming, and I feel like it's a little bit too much at the deep end for me. So this is Matus Urbanowicz, newer of two books. So he also wrote a book called Tokyo Storefronts. And this I've been looking at a lot, this particular one, a lot. Because I've been experimenting with like ink and watercolor, and I really like what he achieved with ink and watercolor, particularly with the paintings in this book, where he used a blue ink. In fact, I have the blue ink because I do this thing that I have a blog post where I talk about why you shouldn't do this thing, but then I do it anyway. And it's this ink. It's Sailor Suboku. There's also Seiboku, but I'm gonna tell them apart because I just realized the labels are in Chinese. Helpful, and I have both. But it's this one, the somewhat darker one. There won't be like, leather pencil cases, 50% off Black Friday. Just checked. They're $300. Whole bunch of nope. The first large kanji is different. Well, yes, but which is which, Ev? It's fine, I know which is which, but... $300 before or after discount. Lindsay, does your budget care? Because, like, I think it's nope either way. I just paint a swatch on it, no idea which is which. Yeah, I think I will do that. Right now I can tell there's just enough ink in the bottles that like there's a clearer section here. I can tell which is which. But they are very close. Yeah, it's nope either way, just curious. Plus tax. Yeah, great. Oh, speaking of which, Lauren, I was gonna ask you, what what's going on with your bike situation? Yeah. No, can't find. Sorry. The bike shop can't find the replacement wheels? Okay. Anyway, I really like looking at this and trying to figure out where the ink is. If you look closely, like this is ink and watercolor, and there is ink line adding some definition, like along all of these rails and stuff, and like along these edges and the background, but it's so subtle, like it doesn't look like it's outlined at all. And so that's something that I really want to study and achieve. Because I like the extra definition that ink adds to watercolor, like that more graphic element, but I don't want it to be overpowering like it's line and wash. Who's Paolo? I'm not Italian to be called Paolo. Or Paolo, yeah. All right. Sorry, I started that. Yeah, Lauren, why did you start that? Paolo is Portuguese. É Paulo. Lauren, tio Paulo. So we have an uncle called Paulo in Brazil. And when we went to visit, when Lauren was a little boy, Lauren was 2 years old, and he spoke in monosyllables. So he would condense every word into one syllable. And he preferred words that were already one syllable. So he wouldn't say to our uncle, Tio Paulo, Uncle Paulo. He would just call him Tio. Or in this is Central Brazilian, it's Tio. But then Lauren would say, he found a stick, and so he was saying he has a stick. So he would say pau. And he said he found it, so he said lo. So he goes to my uncle and he says tio, pau, lo. And my uncle goes, é isso, meu bem. Que bom. You know, you have your stick. You called me my name. Yes, I'm tio Paulo. And Lauren gets very frustrated. No, tio, pau, my stick. Lo. This went on for ages. So Lauren has a history, but Pau is spelt with a U. Last I checked. Uncle Paulo had to make the most of that. Oh man, poor guy. He was so like he just really wanted to be loved. This is our great uncle, and he's, you know, he doesn't have kids, but he always wanted kids, and so he was just like, he was totally in love with Lauren, and he just wanted Lauren to like love him back and say his name. Lauren's just going on about a stick. back to the book. Yes. I also really like the use of light and shadow. Like to make nighttime scenes so lively. Really love this. Like look at the sky effects in this one. I could stare at this all day. And then again, there's like a lot of intricate pen work here, but you don't really, it doesn't read as drawn in, as colored. I'm called Paolo a lot in emails, so I'm kind of used to it, but I don't like it. But forgive and forget. Black is really intense. Yeah. And like all of these cool atmospheric effects, and then like look at the brickwork. Can you see this? Sorry. Just trying to, maybe if I turn this away a little. That didn't help. We see it kind of, yeah, sorry. Just realizing that what I see and what you see is different. This one is one of my favorites. There's like these fields with plants here. There we go. That's better. And then as you go up, there's a dark sky. I also really like this one with an underpass with the light shining up. Like the use of light is just fantastic. And just like, I love the use of ink, and I love the understanding of reflected light and stuff. Are we doing a painting trip to Tokyo? Oh, not this year, but oh my goodness, wouldn't that be nice? Meet up in Tokyo? Lauren and I are going to do a bike trip in Korea someday, right, Lauren? Prefer this one to the last one. The last book? Yeah, this is definitely a better book. Is that yeah to bike trip in Korea? I can't go to Tokyo. I'm addicted to Copics. Ah, oh, there's some. No, what happened here? I've got pieces stuck together. Anyway, yeah, love this use of color. Oh, it's just like there's a few artists out there who are just so impressive, just like super inspiring. My wife just made fun of my gloves. I am confused. Do you want to tell me more about these white gloves? I'm cutting watercolor paper. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Although I will admit that I'm not nearly that careful. Well, folding it till it fails. Ah, yes, okay. If I was cutting watercolor paper that way, I would probably. How does he paint? Does he start plein air, work off photos? He does both. So he does do some on-location sketching, but he mostly works from photos. He'll do scouting trips where he takes his photos and then he assembles them. So each scene is not based on one photo necessarily, which is like this, that makes it all the more impressive in my opinion, because what he'll do is he might go out during the day and get a picture of this transit station, and then he'll get a different thing at night where he'll see some lighting effect, and of course things don't come through at night either. So like he has a YouTube channel. Do we have a mod here? Have some mod. Ev, are you here? Can you link Matus Urbanowitz? Can I be a mob, please? A mod? You can be a mod, but not right now, because I would need to add you, and I'm busy. I think I've seen a couple of videos, but I haven't picked up on his process. It's one of these things like, I know a bunch of you watch James Gurney as well, and there's a draw the rest of the owl, except for professional artists there, where there's a certain level of intuition that they've developed that escapes me. And they will talk about like, oh, I'm just gonna do this. I have this sheet ready and I've primed it yellow, and then right here I'm going to paint it dark gray because that's what this there's a level of intuition that I'm sure it's practice, I'm sure it's whatever, but it's kind of stunning. Yeah, super impressive. It's just the use of light, the use of line, the composition in these pieces. He's doing simpler things now where he wants to focus more on storytelling, and like that's his path and his process, but oh my goodness, this is my dream. Oh, it's so beautiful. And then the last one is Cody by Jared Cullum. You get worried how long he's sitting there at night working plein air when I see that level of precision. No, so that's the thing. So he's doing most of it in the studio, and it's not even one scene. Like, it's not like it's based on life. He assembled it. Which means like all of this really neat lighting, like all this reflected light and stuff, he just has like an intuitive understanding of how that light would interact with the scene that he's created. Like, it's not a copy, it's a creation. Can anyone recommend a ruler for cutting paper? I like the deckled edge thing. I don't know. I use a guillotine. So several locations, even worse. Yeah, so he'll take photos at several locations. He'll do some very preliminary sketches sometimes. He'll bring it back to the studio, assemble it. He also does color studies in Photoshop to work out his lighting and stuff, which I guess that must really help with getting that lighting correct. And then he paints, and the way he paints, that's also another thing where he just like, he mixes on his palette, and it's not, I do a bunch of layers. He does like 2, 3 layers. Like a lot of this, he'll just like put the right color down in a shot. Oh, and too, yeah. There's some magic going on there. Magic, magic, magic. Okay. And then last book is this Cody by Jared Cullum. And this is, Jared also has a YouTube channel. It's called Jared Loves to Draw. And on his YouTube channel, he does a lot of realism. It's like, in some ways, very similar to James Gurney, but I would say that Jared's a little bit more accessible. In a, like, not that James Gurney does a great job of explaining his process, but he's so much on a different level that I sometimes find it still a little intimidating. Jared does a lot of the same sort of stuff, uses the same sort of materials, the same sort of process and colors, but is, I feel, a tiny bit more accessible. Not that he isn't a very skilled artist, but then he's also, he draws comics. And so this is a comic book. And so this is a very different approach to watercolor and ink. And again, I've been playing with watercolor and ink, so I'm interested in different approaches to it. But I also really love some of the background development and character development in this book and how he's approached some of that with some really loose backgrounds. And then if you think that each of these little sections had to be a painting, like he painted each one of these little panels before assembling them into a book, I'm like, the amount of work that goes into something like this, I'm just in awe. There's so many like wonderful, impressive artists out there. I'm inspired and I'm intimidated. Is the whole thing a comic? Yeah. Yeah. So it's one story about a little kid and the bear. Good book. Okay. So that's mostly it for books. What time are we at? 3:15. So am I gonna have a short session today? I'm gonna drink a bunch of water is what I'm gonna do. Okay, so next on my to-do list, I have a commission painting. That I actually started painting on stream, and then I got a little bit overwhelmed and confused by it and set it aside for a really long time. But I think I might try to revisit it now. Oh shoot, I need a third device to revisit this. Eep. Okay, let me check if I can get my hands on a third device. I'll be right back. Yeah, sorry. So I needed to get a third device. So I'm using my phone to play this video. And then I was using my iPad to read your comments. But then if I want to view my reference images for this, then I need a third device. So I'm just gonna pull up my comments on my husband's phone so that I can read your comments, and then I'm also gonna pull up some reference images on here. Although I have a magnetic cutting mat with magnetic ruler. I think brand, but the magnetic ruler keeps it fully in place for you to cut. That's cool. Well, we can see what my husband watches. Yes, we can. We did lots of video game stuff, lots of tool stuff, more lock picking, airplanes, tool stuff. Okay. And then we search meat, and we check this. He doesn't get advertised to. He will kill me now. Yeah, you know too much. Hi, Stephen. How are you? Oh, sorry. Let me turn off the volume here. Okay, so Stephen, you missed all the flipping through books and showing off my sandals. Putting my feet on my desk. Sandals? Yeah, I got new sandals. Here, look. Any day now, this will focus properly. What's going on here? It's all blurry. Doesn't look blurry on my screen, but it looks blurry on this screen. Sorry, guys. Some high quality streaming happening here. Okay, sorry. So, images, photos. How many pieces are in this commission? 3. So there are 3 little pieces. And I just sort of, fortunately I have a very patient client. And in fact, it's a trade. My friend does mending and upcycling and stuff, and so has made me bar tape from leather scraps, as well as, oh, sorry. See, Alex? I thought it was a regular ruler. Oh, like a decal ruler. Okay. Let's bring this up a little bit. Sorry. So this is an exchange with a friend, and Alicia is going to fix my clothes and has made me new bar tape for my bike. Westcott Grip and Rip Aluminum Tearing Ruler, Slopes and Waves. The name is killing me. What a deal. Yeah, I've definitely got the better end of this deal. I get to paint some spiders and moss, and I get cool stuff out of it. I'm winning. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I am going to start adding in some deeper shapes in here. The name. So when I was in Australia, there's some Australianisms that both Jordan and I found somewhat hilarious, and one of them is they really do tend to like names that are, shall we say, to the point, and they like little like plays on words. So they'll sell you little breakfast sausages and the package says Kangabangas. And then the one that really cracked us up was a package of cheese. And the cheese was described, you know, there's always descriptions of what this is, but this had in great big bold letters on the package, strong and bitey. Like, that sounds like a description of my cat. But no, cheese. don't use both hands like the other one to hold the paper. Generally, I do have my hand down here sometimes. Generally, I would actually have my painting up on a tilted angle. Or taped to a surface. But no. Now, I have been found sometimes a weird habit that I try not to do on camera too frequently. Is I do sometimes use both hands to paint. Is I'll soften off edges with my left hand with a second brush. And I didn't realize that I did that until I accidentally showed off that skill during a workshop at one point, and looked up and everyone was staring at me like I had grown a third arm or something. Really? Softening off with another brush is pretty normal. Not many could use their non-dominant hand. So, right. So that's basically what happened is I started out, I'm sure, just with two brushes. And what are you going to do with the second brush? Like, you have a clean, damp brush to soften off your edges, right? So you paint with your first brush. Now, the second brush you have to hold somewhere. You can hold it. Some people will hold it in their hand, like just twist it away or something. Some people will hold it in their other hand. Some people tuck it behind their ear or put it, like, hold it with their mouth or something. And I think really what happened was I was painting with my right hand and holding a damp brush with my left hand, and I intended to switch. And at some point, I subconsciously started, so what will happen is I will take let's make sure that this brush is actually clean before it is not, okay. Good thing I checked that. So what I started to do then was I would take something like this and I would say, okay, well here, but rather than switching, I started realizing it's actually easier to just follow around with the other brush. And so I started doing this stuff. And it's not, I don't always do this. It's not super frequent, but I didn't even realize that I was ever doing this until I was demonstrating softening off sometime. And I was teaching a class, a beginner class, and I looked up and I had a room full of students just staring at me like I'd grown a third eyeball. one day maybe make your own comic someday. That would be pretty cool. Sterling. Hi, Sterling. How are you? Well, softening off doesn't need the same level of precision. Yes, and then the other thing is actually because it's easier to follow your dominant hand with your non-dominant hand than it is to just control it alone. Just because of the way our brain works. So it's actually, it's not the wild magic trick that it necessarily looks like. It's just a weird little quirky habit, but it's weird enough and unnecessary enough that I don't feel the need to bring it in all the time. Like, oh yeah, show this off. Like, you know, it's a quirk that I developed because it turns out it's actually faster or easier than some of the alternatives. But we are multi-handed. It runs through the family blood. Okay. All that blood that I share with you, are you also ambidextrous, Lauren? My husband's ambidextrous. I am not. I'm very right-handed. I'd give my left arm to be ambidextrous. Candace. Hey, Candace, how are you? What are you painting currently? I am currently painting a patch of rotting wood with some mosses on it. So I've got a few different reference photos, but this is probably the closest one that has what I'm painting. And then on top of it, I have a, here we call them daddy long legs. Apparently that refers to something else entirely in other places, but this is a, oh gosh, what's the scientific name? Opiliones, arachnid. So they're sort of related to spiders, and they're funny little critters. And so this is a scene sort of put together from a local woodland area. It's a commission that I'm doing in trade with a friend who's doing some stuff for me. When I went to school, being a lefty was a thing, so we were forced to be right-handed. I still wear my clock in the wrong wrist. I'm a lefty, but I golf, guitar, mouse, right-handed. So Lauren says same here, but the exact opposite. Lauren, when you were very, very young, you used to reach for things with your left hand. And we didn't really try to force it. Like, we figured if you went on to become left-handed, that would be fine, but we would hand things to you in your right. You know, when you were just a little teeny tiny kid, we would hand things to you in your right hand, and so you pick things up right-handed, but you might at some underlying level be left-handed. That's similar to Jordan. So My husband is left-handed. He writes with his left hand, but he learned to do a whole bunch of things with his right. So he games, he uses his mouse with his right hand. He cuts with his right hand. And then he's ambidextrous for things like tool use, which is somewhat mind-blowing to me, like in the same way as people get thrown off when they see me painting with both hands, because Jordan will just switch, like he's using a drill or a power tool of any kind, and he'll just switch arms. So just switch hands. He doesn't have a preference for which way around. I can use both though because my parents didn't care, so I just left at home and right at school. Should go get breakfast. Ooh! What are you having for breakfast? All the smart people in my school were left-handed. Oh, Gabor. Hi. Well, you know, I spent the first hour and a bit not actually painting, so you haven't missed much in terms of painting. Porridge with peanut butter sounds delicious. Maybe I'll make myself some of that after this. You missed your sandals. I'm not gonna put my feet on my desk a third time. It's not happening. Lauren, then it's good that it's recorded and available for rewatch. That's right, you can watch me put my feet on my desk. Do you put brown sugar on top of your porridge? Sometimes. Frequently, I don't sweeten it at all. Oatmeal has about the same percentage protein as peanut butter. That depends. I think on, like, if you're just having the natural peanut butter, I would think that it has a bit more. Also, per calories, it might be similar, but per volume, you're gonna get much more protein density in your peanut butter, would be my guess. But also, it's just different, like different types of protein. So, you know, oatmeal is good, but getting nuts and stuff in there is also good. Per bite, peanut butter for the win. Yeah, right, exactly. So if you're trying to up your protein intake, eating the volume of oatmeal that you would need to get protein, and then also just making sure that you have the right, what are they called? Amino acids? mesmerizing just watching. Oh, Lauren, you're so sweet. So does that mean when we go on our big bike trip that I can just like pause and paint for hours? Has anyone found any good Black Friday art supplies deals? I'm going to admit that I've been like staying off of my email and like trying not to dig into that because I feel like that's dangerous territory for me. Gabor and Paolo. Cyan hasn't received her package yet. Have either of you received yours? Yeah, but then half the time I will be eating. Okay, well, that's fine. I haven't received anything. Like, really not impressed with this postal system. It's been weeks. Now, mind you, Paolo, I sent the palette. But your package I didn't have. I have a pan of Winsor Newton's transparent yellow, or transparent orange, sorry, transparent orange, that I had set aside for you, but it wasn't remotely dry when I sent out the package, so I didn't send it. I could send it now. Watch, I'll send it by mail and it'll arrive first. FedEx is backed up. For my job, shipping is delayed for about a month. Yeah, so things have taken a long time to get across the ocean. Things that are shipped from within Canada do seem to be moving around at a fairly decent pace, but anything that's... You said that you were sending a dot sample, which would be nice. Yes, so there's a dot sample of, what's it? Core's Yinmin Blue that I've sent you. But then you also have, but then there's also I poured it's not quite a full pan, like half pan, but it's, I poured some into a half pan and it was just staying really sticky. Yeah. So, you know, I waited a few days and it was still really sticky and I decided to just send the package without it. But then apparently the package has just never arrived, so I don't know what to do. There's a Corianman blue paint. There is. It's not in their regular line. You have to order it special, and the shipping is atrocious. Chemistry PTSD is flaring up. We gotta be nice, not trigger each other's PTSD. Some things cannot cross borders, like the letter we sent to Brazil was not sent. It was blocked because of COVID. They said it was because post office in my town my grandma lives in, people are thinking they're ripping people off. They told my grandma she has to pay extra to ship my brother's Christmas package. They said it was because it has to go through the States to get to Alberta from BC. Ev, you're being mean. Mom questioned the post office where they live, and now they're looking into that because nothing should be going through the States. Oh, weird. I bought a palette on eBay some time ago which came with a bright yellow. I think it's Cad Lemon from Winsor Newton. What is the best way to figure out what it is? I quite like it. So I have two suggestions. Winsor Newton makes a dot card. The dots are really, really, really tiny, and the card is really, really, really overpriced. But you can get a Winsor Newton dot card and paint out the dots yourself and match it. Alternatively, I have already painted the dot cards out. And so if you send me a sample, I can match it. I can try to match it to my paint outs. So yin. So it, Y is yttrium. In is something, but the I is also capitalized. So each capital is a different element. And so the I is also capitalized. And gosh, I don't even remember what all my what all of my elements are. Hi all, just popping in. What's up today? I am picking away at a painting that I started a long time ago. And earlier in the stream, I showed off a bunch of purchases that I've made because, I don't know, because I'm a hoarder. Is anyone else buffering? Not me. Yes? No. Twice now it's buffered for me. Interesting. I've got a full screen that does not appear to be buffering. But stream's good on my side. Okay, well, if more people are having trouble, then we can switch it up. How much of this can you guys see? It's always a little weird with... good, but I'm only 1 mile away. No, so I'm, like, in terms of the details in here, like, maybe if I turn this, I just want to see, what do I change the quality here to give it some better pixels. Aha. That's not bad. Okay. I don't know why he had it at 144 pixels. It was making everything look super blurry. Refreshed and that fixed it. It's good at 720. So I don't know if this is just my device. Does anyone see a 1080 option? Because the 1080 should be available. The camera is capable of it. I mean, the camera is capable of 4K, but 4K is not available on stream. Should be able to stream in 1080 though. Only 720. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. Why is it filming in 720? Up to 720. Okay. Well then. That's something that I should look into for next time. I'm going to share the original paper of Yinmin on your Discord. Yes, please. Also, while we're at it, Ev, can you throw a Discord link up for my Discord channel? The live stream might be 720, but it compressed to the level at best 480. Yes, I'm somewhat alarmed by the poor quality here. I'm gonna have to look at some of the past streams, because, like, this is seeming not so good to me. I have a good 720. Okay. Like, I realize that, I don't know, I'm not always watching streams at a size where it matters, but still, it's like little detailed paintings. I need more pixels. And the camera's capable of 4K. Good 4K. So mine was autoing to 140, but then I changed it to 720. It did actually change to 720. It's maybe not the best 720, but it is 720. I'm not understanding why it's not offering 1080 though. Okay, well, I might have to look into what I need to upgrade to get better streaming capability in my end of year shopping spree. It is definitely 720, but the compression is too high. Typical YouTube. I checked the Autumn Leaves stream, and it's about the same there. So it's on YouTube's side. Okay, does anyone have any insight onto whether that might be better if I'm streaming using like a webcam versus streaming on mobile? Like, are some people getting better video quality? They're scheduled for when I go live. Yes, I can answer that. I go live every Friday at 2 p.m. Ev goes live every Saturday at 2 p.m. If you want to watch Ev paint. Ev paints a lot of cats. I haven't figured out a good way to stream either. Webcams like to lie to you. Cool. And yes, I paint a lot of cats. Lauren. I have 2 cat co-hosts too. That's true. And they are well-behaved co-hosts who stay on camera. So if people want to give me some input into, like, are there art supplies that you would like to see me use in the next year? Because now's the time to tell me, because I'm not going to be buying any art supplies after the end of the year for a whole year. Except for paints from Sterling, because I already agreed to that. Hi, Barbie. What? Yeah, I am not buying things all of 2021. No buying, no spending money. I've gone overboard. I'm embracing it for this year, but then part of what I'm sort of decided is that then that's quite enough and I don't need to spend more money for a long, long time. What? No one has ever spent too much money on art supplies. Candace, it's not even about money. I mean, I've spent too much money the past few weeks, but it's not like my bank account is fine. My house, on the other hand, is getting to be kind of a disaster. There's just too much stuff here, and I don't have a real lack of art supplies. I just have a habit of like, I'll just justify things as, oh, it's for the channel. Which, you know, some amount of that is good. It's good to try new things. But I think that forcing some creativity where, like, for a year, I'm just, you know, I'm going to use what I have. And there's plenty of content I can make without buying new things, is good. So one thing I am going to buy, though, now, before I start, which I've been meaning to do for some time, is I am going to get some casein paint. I'm going to go to State of the Art Supplies. They have some boxes of casein paint. Yeah. Yeah, I know, you love decluttering, Candace. Lauren says, buy a new house. Lauren, I will send you a picture afterwards. And maybe I'll post one on the Discord channel as well. Anyone who's not already in my Discord chat, join my Discord chat. We chat about silly things and nerdy things. What's Discord? It's like a chat program. Ev, can you throw that link up again? It's a chat program that's really awesome and nice and free. Like a chat room situation. And I originally designed, I think, for gamers. But it's fantastic. I recently went through a similar thought and realized that buying anything new is no longer brings happiness but guilt and pressure. I have 3 filming lights plus the ceiling light, still won't let me. Artificial light might be too dark for the higher resolution. I really don't think that's it, given how insanely bright the studio is, but here, let's see, like, if I give it as much direct light as is possible in this altogether too bright studio. Barbie was asking about the brushes you're using. So right this instant, I'm using a really beaten up, old, cheap, size 0 Cotman round. So this is a synthetic brush, and it's several years old, and it's all scruffy, but in this particular case, that's exactly what I want, because I'm making scruffy little details of like the edges of the little moss here. And so the fact that I have a brush that doesn't disperse water really well and that is a little bit scruffy is exactly what I want. That's not what I would recommend as a brush generally. It's just, it happens to be working for me right this instant. I usually use Rosemary & Co. brushes, and these are not them. Where are my good brushes? So this is a Rosemary & Co. size 3, series 22. That's my favorite brush. Don't worry about the resolution on my end. Is probably mostly due to YouTube. Okay. I mean, I just kind of want to, like, I want to set myself up for success as well, but yeah, I feel like it'll be good to just, you know, not have to worry about that for a year, where if I just, like, I don't give myself the option, and it's like, no, you're not upgrading your studio equipment, you're not researching more paints, you're not blaming your brushes, you're not whatever, then it'll actually probably be good for me. In the more general sense. Sorry, I'm running off the table here. Okay, let's bring you back up a little so that you see my, hello? Hello, sorry I'm late. Hi, Dan. Nice, I just bought myself a Skoda and Black Velvet and love them both. I also have the Neptune series too. I've wanted to try those brushes you mentioned too. Cool, yeah. They are my magic wands. I am waiting for using up my cheaper synthetic brushes, and then I will go with Da Vinci Casaneo. So Gabor, be aware that your synthetic brushes will behave differently. So you'll learn different skills with the synthetic brushes. In general, I tend to prefer my sable brushes, but there are cases where I actually just use a synthetic brush because it's what I want. They don't disperse paint in the same way. Yeah. Glad I managed to catch the stream. I'm glad you managed to catch the stream as well. Must be getting late where you are, because you're several hours ahead of us. (9:15 p.m.) I'm also excited to be able to get Wi-Fi next week. Oh, finally! Finally! It's very posh. I love them, and as soon as I use them, I could see a big difference in my paintings. I like the black velvets, but they don't hold a good shape. I like the Cosmotop spins. I wish I could get a good selection of Princeton Neptune, but I missed the opportunity when I was in the US. But on the other hand, you have better access to Rosemary & Co., and Rosemary & Co. is the best brush company ever. It's going to be nice and fast fiber optic, so I should be able to get back to streaming soon. Oh, yes, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Yay. Can't wait. I'm gonna go back over to working over here for a while. Yeah, so I found that I kept buying things for my YouTube channel, and I say this, and I'm like, and if you want me to buy more, get your suggestions in now. But the truth is, I've got a whole bunch of stuff planned that like I haven't even gotten around to yet. So like, at some point, I do have to pause. Dan sent me ages ago, like, is it over a year now? Dan sent me some Old Holland paints, and I've been meaning to do a stream with those, and you know, some kind of painting with those, and I haven't. I swatched them, but well, now or never. Yeah, pretty much. The last time I bought brushes, I got burned by Winsor & Newton Sables. Then I decided to never buy a brush from a manufacturer I don't already have. Also try to move away from Sables. 2 brushes. Okay. So Rosemary & Co. has a nice line of, it's a sable synthetic mix, which I've really come to love, and I think I'm actually going to order a few more of them just very soon, because I haven't ordered brushes. I haven't gotten new brushes in like a year, so even more, almost 2 years. So I genuinely do run through brushes, like legitimately for work. I totally forgot about those. I'm in the same boat. I have stuff I've had for a while but not done anything with. I was like the Academy set, had it for 8 months before opening it. Yeah, I mean, there's also this set, which I have actually now filmed the video with it. But, you know, this came out, and I pre-ordered it, and then I got it, and then several people made videos about it, and then 8 months went by, and then I filmed a video, and then I still haven't edited the video. I recently did 2 paintings with my Old Holland starter set. They both have very strong smell and they bubble a lot. They also grab the hairs of my brush, kind of sticky. I got some Old Holland paints, and I just got them like based on, you know, oh well, these pigments sort of appeal to me. And I wasn't terribly impressed, certainly with what I got. But Dan uses a lot of Old Holland paint, and so he very generously sent me a whole bunch of Old Holland paints to try, to show, you know, what the brand does a bit better. And I'm really excited about that, but I haven't gotten around to it. I don't miss editing. Everyone hates editing. Editing is awful. It's like just the worst. love editing. Okay, right, Lauren. It's calming and snazzy. It's editing the voice that kills me. Oh my god, sound levels. Ah. And like you have to watch yourself talking over and over and over and over again. Let me cut out all the times when I say or I'm super awkward or just sound really weird because I'm a weird person. Okay, Ev, your voice is beautiful. Doing the damn thing several times. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. With the lumberjack French accent. I mean, there's lumberjack French and then there's lumberjack French. I'm not gonna say that lumberjack French in general is always great, but I love Ev's voice. And I have to cut out so many cat noises, raspberries, when I trip into all the words and the neighbors. Yep. You cut out cat noises. I cut out cat noises too. Like, even if you want to include some of the cat noises, when it's good to have some background cat noise sometimes, but when you're just trying to talk and there's just like yelling in the background, you're not understandable. Like, I know that Neuron is the highlight of my channel, but I also edit a lot of Neuron out because he's a little brat. On future videos, I would like to see a video from you on drawing preparation and research. About art supplies, probably different inks. Same. And I mean, people don't come over for the cats specifically. I don't know. I hang around your channel hoping to see your cats a little bit. I mean, your channel is called Art and Cats. Not how I found your channel, but like your channel specifically, cat videos. Totally, totally cool. Well, me too, but I mean, there is such a thing apparently as people disliking cats, but then they won't hang around for a channel called Art and Cats where you paint cats on every video. Yeah, it's on the tin, so take it or leave it. Exactly. My other half isn't keen on cats. What? Boo. Your other half just like lost several cool points, Dan. Steven, I care zero for cats. But kitties. Kitties. I really liked how you deliberately included the cats walking into the video. If it's edited well, I think it adds to the video. Yeah, absolutely. But the key is edited well, because if you don't edit well, right? Like sometimes they're off screen and they're just making shrieking sounds, and you're trying to talk and it's just shrieking sounds. So like having a little bit of shrieking, or better yet, the actual cat being cute on screen, good. Or yeah, or make a racket that's not even recognizable as cat sounds. Like the cat got on the counter and knocked all the things off the counter. Clatter, 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 clatter. Great. If I can get video footage, it's gonna be tricky, but if I can get video footage of Neuron ringing my water jar to fetch him more water. The thing is, the studio lights need to be on. The camera needs to be on. And the water needs to be empty. And I need to be not sitting at the desk. I need to be sitting at the other desk for this all to work. So there's some timing issues here. I need like a motion activated camera. I love Alfonso Dunn's video as he's fighting with the cat while trying to draw. Wow, he's got you well trained, Lee. Yeah. The little critter's too smart for his own good. For my own good. It's got me all figured out. He used to just sit on the desk. He'd sit on the desk and yell at me, and I would come and fill his water. But now he's learned that he can ring the water jar. Well, this is coming along slowly. I think that's why people don't like cats. They're too clever in a cunning way. Yeah, and the thing is, when you have smarter cats, like there's smart cats and there's dumb cats. And the smarter cats, it's not like they're less trouble. They're just more creative trouble. They do not use their intelligence for good. They use their intelligence to mess with you. Cats are either clever or dumb as a brick. Not a lot in between. The in between are dogs. That's probably true. There are some smart dogs, but actually the most trainable dogs, actually, much like cats, the most trainable dogs, the ones that want to please you all the time, are not actually the smartest ones. Like they can figure out their human out and work out what they have to do to manipulate you into doing what they want. Yeah. Like Gluey, yeah. Poor Gluey. He's all lonely now. So Gluey is my parents' dog. Both of my younger siblings recently moved out. So not only are my parents empty nesters, but the dog has lost his pack. Cats are clever until you bring out the laser pointer or a cardboard box or a fly, then it is pure amusement. Yep. Very true. Catnip? Catnip? Lauren? That's the one. Okay, so this texture is gradually appearing. Not all cats like catnip. Not all cats react to catnip either. It's like 70% or something. There's some other related things that the cats that don't react to catnip are more likely to react to. But yeah, they're all plants in the mint family. You're gonna paint the spider. Yeah, so right now it is masked off with white, but then once everything else is painted, I'll wipe it all off and paint in the last details. So I guess I'll probably do that next week because I'm getting somewhere with this, but it's not quite there yet. Yeah. And I've been on stream for 2 hours and 40 minutes now, so I think I'm kind of reaching the end of my patience. I need to go eat something. But I hope you all enjoyed this little stream. I sure did. Also enjoyed the loot at the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll maybe share a little bit more of that